August 1st. Yo, some of the freakiest shit you could ever think of just happened. Got everybody mad spooked when they saw it, including me. But let me take it from the top. The party was a crazy ass mix of people: white frat dudes in plaid button downs and mesh trucker hats, high school kids from the neighborhood in black dickies or baggy jeans, wife beaters, chains hanging off belt loops, blonde college girls in sundresses or short skirts and low cut tops. Mexican hoochies like our crew with huge hoop earrings and too much makeup, except Flocka, who didn't even need no makeup. And then there was us, me and Rondell, a couple group home kids from San Jose dressed in sweatshirts and jeans, runaways who hadn't showered in a grip and probably smelled like week-old sweat and seaweed and sand from the beach, who had their entire lives zipped up in bags stashed back at the baseball field. When we first walked in, I couldn't stop thinking how other people saw us, or if they even saw us at all. Neither of us had ever been to a college party before. Rondell said he'd never been to any kind of party. We were straight outsiders, crashers, and neither of us knew how we were supposed to act. But after I downed my first cup of this jungle juice they had, me and Rondell and the girls all posted in the kitchen for the first hour, talking just with each other. I automatically switched to having fun, like everybody else. There were 2 kegs in the huge backyard, which was where most people were kicking it. There was jungle juice and hard alcohol and mixers in the kitchen. There were 5 bedrooms in the house, and 2 were special rooms where you could go to do bong hits or score an E-tab. In the living room, guys were spinning records and freestyling over the beat. After we finally left the kitchen, me, Rondell, and the 5 girls watched dudes rap in the living room for a while, and then Flocka took my hand and pulled me into one of the empty bedrooms to talk by ourselves. Me and Flocka alone in a room. Flocka opened a random door, peeped the vacant room, and pulled me in, locked the door behind us. As we walked across the room, she pointed at my face and said, "I meant to ask you, how'd you get that cut on your lip?" "What cut?" I said. We sat in the far corner against the wall, right next to each other, so our arms were touching. "This one right here," she said, touching her finger just over my lip, my skin still tingling there even after she took back her finger. "I don't even know," I said, looking into my cup of jungle juice. I tried to think if I could still be mellow now that we were alone in a room, because my heart was sort of going now. She tilted her head to the side, said, "Come on, Miguel, you remember." I shrugged. Me and my big bro were probably messing around. "You got a brother back in Idaho?" I nodded, told her, "Diego." "Ooh, I like that name." "You're not the only one." "I got 2 older brothers, Guillermo and Rene." I looked in her pretty brown eyes and felt something flipping around in my stomach. I pushed it out of my head and told her, "Yeah, you guys cool?" I watched her face get all concentrated as she thought about that question. I gotta say, man, the stomach flipping thing wasn't letting up. Flocka just looked so damn good. Long brown hair all wavy going down her back like she'd done it up especially for the party. Or maybe me. A little cut-off jean skirt that covered only half her smooth-ass brown thighs. I tried to think what Diego would do if he saw me like this, sitting at a college house party in San Diego drinking jungle juice, a girl as fine as Flocka sitting right next to me. He'd probably be proud as shit, or jealous even. "I'm cool with one of them," she said. "Renee. Guillermo's kind of an asshole sometimes. All he cares about is racing cars. He thinks the entire world revolves around his stupid souped-up Civic. It's not even that sick." She told me a couple more things about her brother and his car, and then we went silent for a while. We drank and looked across the bare room. Flocka fixed one of her silver clips in her hair. I don't know if it was the juice or whatever, but I was starting to feel more chill sitting next to her, just us. I wasn't even worried about what I should do next, at least not as much as I thought I'd be. Plus, I figured I should go check on Rondell before figuring out about me and Flocka. I set down my cup of jungle juice and stood up, said, "Yo, you could wait right here for a sec?" She looked up at me frowning. "Why? Where are you going?" "I gotta go check on my boy." She rolled her eyes and said, "What are you, like his dad or something?" "Don't let nobody take my seat," I said. "Whatever." I cruised out of the room and through the hall, past a couple girls waiting for the bathroom, and ducked my head into the living room where they were still banging hip-hop. Rondell was on the couch next to a few college dudes, just where I left him. Some neighborhood kids were behind them drinking. Rondell looked up at me. "You good?" I said. He nodded. "We listening to records now. Look how many they got, Mexico." He pointed to a bookshelf stacked to the top. "People call you Mexico?" Some black dude called out from behind the couch. A couple people laughed. "Not really," I said. I pointed at Rondell. "He does." "Yo, man," this big white kid said, looking all around at his boys. "Ain't that shit kind of gay?" Everybody cracked up. A dude having a pet name for another dude? Rondell turned slowly to look at him. Come on, man, I said. People could have nicknames, right? Why's it gotta be gay? He's just fucking with you, this other black dude said. My boy Jimmy's don't got no manners. Don't take it personal. Jimmy laughed and took a long swig off his 40 bottle. Right then the record ended and everybody turned their attention to picking a new one. I looked at Rondell, who was still staring at the guy. Hey, I said to get his attention back. He looked at me and sipped his juice. Where are the other girls? He nodded his head toward the kitchen. He looked at the white guy, then turned back to me. All right, I told him. Make sure you keep an eye out. He took another sip of juice. You need me. I'm right around the corner, man. Second door on the left. He didn't say anything. I could see in his eyes he wasn't paying attention to anything I said. Either that or he was just drunk. But all I knew was I had to get back to Flacco. I'll be out in a sec, I said, and then I turned and left. On my walk back to the bedroom, I thought about the one time Diego tried to tell me about being with girls. We were cruising home from this movie we got dragged to about relationships, a romantic comedy or whatever they call it. We both thought it was mad stupid and ducked out before it even finished, ditched everybody we were with. As we were walking, he must have still been thinking about the movie though, because he started telling me how the key to being with girls is to be 100% chill and think about other shit like playing hoop or kicking it at the levee. That's how most guys drop the ball, he said, as we crossed March Ave, walked past the burrito spot with the big sombrero on the roof. They think too much. Girls got mad radar for that shit, Gully. They got this little alarm system that goes off in their heads like bleep, bleep, bleep. They hear that shit sound off and think, hold on a minute, why is this guy sweating me? There must be something wrong with him. I remember right then Diego got me in a little headlock for no reason and then let me go. I tried to punch his ass in the arm, but he blocked it. Don't ask me why, he said, shaking his head, but almost every girl I know is the exact same way. They only want guys who don't want their asses back. Doesn't make no kind of sense when I say it, right? I shrugged. He pulled his phone to check a text. Said, but it's true, man, you'll see. He flipped clothes and looked at me. Once a girl feels a sweaty palm, yo, and I don't care how fucking nice you are, Gully, she'll never look at your sensitive ass the same. I nodded but didn't say anything. Diego laughed and shook his head. Just don't follow how the movie was. Your big bro'll tell you how shit really is. Me and Flocka alone in a room, part 2. I walked back in the room all chill, thinking about Diego's talk, and sat against the wall next to Flocka. I looked at her without smiling. Geez, she said, you were gone long enough. It's all good, I said, picking up my cup. I took a long sip of juice and stared at the far wall. Being buzzed made it way easier to fake like I wasn't nervous. She leaned her knee against mine, said, did you at least miss me? I shrugged, feeling Flocka's knee heat transferring to my leg. How much? I looked at the ceiling for a sec, said, about a 6 out of 10. A 6, she said, that's it? Maybe a 6.5. Asshole. She shook her head at me and took a baby sip out of her cup. Anyways, I just told you all about my brothers. Now I get to ask you questions. That's cool, I said. What's it like living in Idaho? I've never known anybody from there. I cracked up a little. I don't know why. I think I pretty much forgot about saying I was from Idaho. It's pretty regular, I told her, picturing Stockton instead. Just less people have all their teeth. She smiled, shifted her knee away from mine. You got all yours, she said. I'm saying, though, it's rare. She put her hand on my knee for a second, then took it off and drank. I peeped my tingling knee and drank too. The room didn't have any furniture except an old dresser with no handles, and the wood floor was all scuffed up and broken down in places, especially by the door. I was pretty sure she wanted us to kiss, but I didn't know how I should do it. I mean, I kissed girls before, like 4 or 5 of them. I'd even had sex with this one girl named Cecilia, but they were all Diego's friends. He probably told him to hook up with me. Either that or it was part of some game we were all playing, like Truth or Dare. It's not like I ever had to do anything. What are you thinking about? Flocka said. I shrugged. Come on, I want to know. You, I guess. She set down her cup and faced me with this big grin. Yeah, like what about me? I looked at the wood floor for a little while, took another sip, felt the warm buzz going in my fingers and toes and chest. I like being in here, I said, in this empty room against the wall drinking. How you can hear the music in the next room and people talking, but you're still away from them. 2 days ago, I never even knew this place existed. She frowned. That doesn't have nothing to do with me. I looked at her without even thinking and said, it has everything to do with you. Flocka smiled big and touched my face. All my friends think you're really cute. Yeah, I said, you gonna hook me up with one of them? Which one you want? I played like I was thinking about it for a sec, rubbing my hand on my chin and all that. The one with the nose ring, I said, touching the small hoop in her nose. Yeah? I nodded. I could probably make that happen. Is she mellow, though? I only like girls who can chill out and be mellow. She's all right, Flocka said. Why don't you see for yourself? Maybe I won't. She leaned in and kissed me. On the outside, I tried to make like everything was super smooth and calm and my palms were dry as hell. But inside, my mind was thinking all kinds of crazy things, like how long do I keep my mouth open? And how do I turn my face? And how much tongue do I use? And where do I put my hands? And how are we supposed to breathe? She ran her fingers through my hair and then rested them on my shoulders and touched my cheeks and then slowly pulled away and just looked at me grinning. Hey, Miguel, she said. Hey, Flocka, I said back, my heart beating all fast like I'd just run a damn lap around some track. She kissed me again, a real short one this time, but soft as hell, like she made her lips go completely limp or something. I think I sort of like you, she said, and you can even ask my girls. I usually don't like nobody. I sort of like you too, I said. She touched my cut again, then kissed it. How much do you like me, she said. I looked at her for a sec, said, like an 8.3. She laughed and play punched me in the arm again, then reached down for my jeans, all calm like, never taking her eyes off mine, said, you nervous for what I'm about to do? Nah, I'm cool, I said, even though my heart was thumping its ass off. I swallowed hard and watched her take hold of my zipper and started pulling it down all slow with this big grin on her face. But right then we heard this loud crashing sound somewhere in the house. It made the wall behind us shake. We both spun our head towards the door, and Flocka pulled her hand back. What was that? She said. I shot to my feet. I don't even know, I said, though I was pretty sure I knew. I pulled up my zipper and started for the door. Wait, where are you going? She said, standing up too. I gotta check Rondell, I said. Okay, she sat back down. The fight. I sprint out of the room and down the hall, my heart climbing in my throat. I already know what I'm gonna find. I get to the living room and there it is. 5 guys holding back a crazed Rondell, his face contorted and neck veins bulging, arms and legs driving the pile forward like a running back. I follow his eyes to the big white guy now laying on the ground, crooked and bloody and motionless. Everything in my head blurs and speeds up, and I shout, what happened? Your boy, one of the black guys shouts. He just beat the shit out of Jimmy, man, real bad. Kept hitting him even after he got knocked out, another kid says. Psycho, somebody says. Gotta get him out of here. Call the cops. Hurry, get him out. Everybody's talking over each other as I study the guy Jimmy. His face is so mangled and bloody I can barely make out features. I look up at Rondell, the devil in his eyes. Every muscle flexed as he fights to get more of the guy he's already beaten down. He's after more than just winning in a fight. He wants to take his life. But why? Rondell, I yelled. He doesn't look at me. Hey, man. Nothing. Flocka comes rushing into the living room. She stops right behind me and stares down at Jimmy, covers her mouth with her right hand and turns away. Her girls hurry to her side. A fat Mexican gangster runs in from the backyard with his fists clenched, a smaller one trailing behind. White wife beaters, chains hanging from pockets. First guy shouts, yo, Jimmy, Jimmy. He looks down at the body on the floor and his face goes wild. Looks up at Rondell, still fighting to get loose. Big Mexican guy charges, throws a wild punch that glances off the side of Rondell's face. Rondell stumbles trying to get away from the guys holding him back, goes down on one knee, but pops back up. Everybody talking over each other and the music still playing and the crowds of people rushing in from the backyard to see. Rondell throws the 4 guys off him like rag dolls, bodies flying over the couch into the dining room table. The Mexican guy swinging another wild right, but Rondell deflects it, grabbing the Mexican by his hair and headbutting him right in the face. The loud shattering of the guy's nose like dishes heaved against the concrete wall. A little girl's scream comes out of the Mexican's mouth as he covers his face and crumples to the rug on Jimmy's limp body, eyes rolling to the back of his head. Still, Rondell pounces on him, delivers 3 lightning-quick jabs to the face, blood spewing out of the guy's nose and mouth and right eye, the back of his head banging the floor. People grabbing Rondell's sweatshirt, pulling him off. Rondell spinning and swinging fists at anybody, everybody, including me. The speed and agility he had on the basketball court. But the look in his eyes, a look I've never seen before. Different from Mong's, more desperate. Everything happening so fast. The black guy behind Rondell grabbing an empty 40 bottle off the table, rearing it back to smash Rondell's head in. Me not thinking anything but diving at the guy, knocking the bottle from his hand, wrestling to the ground, grabbing at each other in the scuffle. And somehow I'm smacking him in the chin with an uppercut and his head snapping back, his face cringing and eyes closing then opening, him rolling onto me, pinning my arms, and I'm turning my head as his fist comes down hard on my ear and my cheek and my neck and the side of my head, and everything is turning black and lost. When I wake up, Rondell is wrapping his two huge hands around the black guy's neck, pulling him up. Rondell's staring into his puffy face and squeezing, gritting his teeth, shouting, "Nobody touch Mexico," squeezing harder. Eyes wild and spit flying from his mouth as he repeats this line over and over. "Nobody touch Mexico, nobody touch Mexico, nobody touch Mexico." Every person in the living room, guy or girl, spooked and backing away, silent, no talking. The music shut off, and I'm getting up and falling against the couch and getting up the rest of the way, knowing Rondell will kill this kid, that he will stop his breath forever, and that tomorrow he will not remember. The black dude's face changing colors, turning bright red and purple, eyes bugging out of his head, looking back at Rondell, scared for his life. "Let go," I'm yelling at Rondell, but he's not letting go. I slap him on the back of his head and shout again, "Let fucking go, Rondell." Him looking at me, him letting go. The black guy falling to the floor, clutching his own neck and coughing and choking to get back his breath. Flocka behind us crying now, her girls screaming, dudes shouting and jostling, my right eye blurred by my own blood falling into it. The Mexican guy moving just his fingers, making weak fists, rolling off the guy Jimmy, who doesn't move at all. Blood all over everywhere on the rug and the couch and the records and everybody's clothes, and my own blood running into my eyes, stinging, and the sound of the girls behind me and the crowd that's just come in from the backyard to see. And Rondell is staring at me now. He's looking for direction, his face less crazy, but his chest still heaving in and out and heaving in and out and heaving in and out. I grab him by the sweatshirt and pull him with me out of the living room and through the front door and across the lawn into the street, voices of dudes yelling behind us and girls screaming. I look over my shoulder, expecting everybody chasing us down with bats or the cops, but it isn't either. It's just Flocka and her 4 girls running after us, bags flailing, their eyes wild with fear.